All right, Facebook Live. Today is Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're watching me live, good evening. If you're watching me in a recorded version, well, wherever you're from, wherever you're at, what's happening? So the topic for today is how can you do in one day what most people will take 1 week to do. So before we get started, I want to see where you guys are watching me from. So comment on the comment below, what state are you from? I always like to gauge where my audience is from. So Rasib, what's going on, brother? I always like to gauge to see where you guys are watching me. So comment below where you're from, so kind of see what type of dates, what type of time zones I'm covering. Tommy, what's going on, brother? Roman. Paul, what's happening, Paul? So comment below what stage you are watching this from. So today, long fucking day. Long fucking day. 6 straight hours of coaching, masterminding some of the top entrepreneurs in their industry. These guys are not newbies. These guys are not wannabe entrepreneurs. All these guys are 10 plus years in the business. So just to give you some kind of idea of if you're not an entrepreneur, the likelihood of you to succeed in an entrepreneur world, 1 out of 10 businesses close down in the first year. Like 1% of people make it after, 10% of people make it after 10 years. Only 1% makes it to the over $1 million line. So most of the guys that I'm coaching, they're running 10, 15, even $20 million businesses. So these guys could accomplish what most people do in 1 week in one fucking day. In one fucking day. And I have the pleasure of coaching these guys. Like today, 6 hours straight of masterminding, extracting their principles, extracting their knowledge, and extracting their information so we could compound time. Because that's what this guy's paying me for, so we could compound time. I bring some of the smartest guys into a fucking room, hold them accountable, give them the fucking fire, and keep them in the trenches so they could stay focused, they could do one thing and one thing only. Fucking results. Fucking results. So, I see Naples, Oklahoma, Arizona, Oklahoma City Latinos. What's going on, brother? Jason, South Dakota. Just understand this, guys. The average guy can't fucking handle being an entrepreneur. The average man is not built to become an entrepreneur. If you're an entrepreneur, you're a fucking crazy maniac. Because the likelihood of you to succeed in the entrepreneur game is 1 to 10. No, every single day you're going into the war game, you're going into the battle, and most likely you will die. And the guys that I coach, these guys are fucking gladiators. These guys are not afraid to go into the fucking battle. Some of those guys come back like, fuck, Raul, 1 week ago they were in the top. Now we're going to see that in the bottom. And the next week they're going to be in the top again. The next week in the bottom is a fucking roller coaster. But we stay consistent in the fucking game because the name of the game is consistency. Consistency. See people from Kansas. So what I want to share with you tonight is 6 principles. 6 things that we extracted today in this course. Principle number 1, you will fuck up. You will fuck up. There's no doubt about it. You will fuck up. If you are in the game of being an entrepreneur and you want shit to happen smooth, get out of the fucking game. Because the truth is, you will fuck up and you just have to get used to it. Second principle, shit will happen. Shit will happen. So sometimes that shit is not your fault. I have a guy who has a $10 million plus business. His insurance changed the game. Now he has to pay back premiums, which is fucking crazy. Shit will happen. Have guys who are investors, they're investors and their money, they want to pull out. They have to come out with $1 million, $2 million in 2 weeks. And it's not their fault. Shit will happen. Principle number 3. Fear is good. If you're not afraid, if you don't have fear as an entrepreneur, you're a fucking idiot. you are a fucking idiot, because either you're not taking enough risks to get a gut check, either you're not playing the game smart, because you have to be afraid. Like most of the fighters, if you look at some of the interviews of boxers and UFC fighters, they're afraid to go into the ring. Like if you are a UFC fighter and if you're a boxer, the moment that you lose that fear of going to the ring, that's the moment that you're done. As an entrepreneur, the moment that you don't have that fear anymore, that's the moment that you know that you lost the edge. So fear is good. The key is, can you turn that fear into fuel? Can you turn that fear into fuel and turn that fear into fire so you could use that fucking power? So fear is good. So we got 1, 2, 3. Principle number 4. You can't force people to change. You can't force people to change. You can't force your employees to change. You can't force your wife to change. You can't force your kids to change. People cannot force you to change. Change is an individual choice. If people don't want to change, the only thing you have to do is accept them for who they are, love them for who they are, and either let them go or deal with the fact that they're never going to change. But you can't make people change. Principle number 5, leverage is power. Leverage is power. If you're not leveraging your time, if you're not leveraging your money, if you're not leveraging your knowledge, if you're not leveraging your network, leverage is power. Like most of these entrepreneurs, what I love about them is that they know how to use leverage. They got to where they are because they know how to use that leverage. We learned how to use leverage to a whole different level because now we have a compound of power entrepreneurs that we call the inner circle, that we meet once a week and we share this secret so we could compound time, so these fucking principles get used in the daily basis. So principle number 6, recognize your patterns. Recognize your patterns so you don't make the same fucking mistakes. And that's a huge one for me because I need to be present to my patterns so I don't show up like the asshole that I used to be before, and I'm learning from my experience. Recognizing my patterns so I could learn from my failures. I don't repeat the same mistakes. Recognize the patterns of your behavior so you don't make the same stupid mistakes with your wife, with your kids, with your business partners, with your customers. Recognize your patterns. So that's just 6 principles that I've given you. And what I'm telling you is you have to start learning every single day from your patterns. Every single day what I do is I just extract information from my clients, extract information from life, extract information from everything that I read, and I recognize the patterns and I execute. And a formula that I use is adapt, adjust, and execute. So I'm just giving you 6 key principles fresh out of the mastermind so you could use. We started this week the Edge 100, February, the Edge 100. There's a second group that I guide. We have about 15 men, entrepreneurs that are in the fire every single week. And I hold them to the fire every single week. And those guys know that I don't fuck around. Like, I take my job seriously. I'm the guy who's going to punch you in your fucking face if you don't do the fucking work. So March, I'm going to have another Edge 100 for the last time. That's the last Edge 100 that I'm going to have for 100 days live with me. After March, April, everything's going to be on video. You're not going to be able to see me live. You're going to see a video of Raul. So this is probably the last chance you're going to have this month and March to be part of the Edge 100 program before we go to the virtual Edge 100 and you only get Raul in DVD or Raul on video. So brother, these are just some of the experiences that we get when we come together. These are some of the knowledge that we share. If you're ready to fucking be in the fire, if you're ready to go to the fucking next level, comment below. We'll send you the application. If you qualify, we'll have a conversation. If not, at least you're going to get my fire once in a while when I do these live feeds. At the end of the day, brother, you're only as good as your association. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself. The reason I could do what most men do in 1 week, in 1 day, is because I associate with men that are driving their businesses, that are with their marriage and their fitness to a whole different level. And they push me beyond I push myself. Accountability. Association and an action plan is the key to having the edge. So that's 10 minutes right there. I give you a fucking rant. And right now, even though it's 9 o'clock, it's 9:18, I'm going to have some time with my lady. We just put the kids to sleep. Like, that's the best time. Like 6 hours of coaching, but the best time, you know what I did tonight? We baked a cake with my son. I can't tell you the fulfillment it gives me to see my son like doing stuff like that with me. Like I'm not a baker. I don't bake that. It's probably one cake that I've done in years. But just the experience of being with my son and with my family. And that's what we talk about in the mastermind, is how do we integrate this crazy world of being an entrepreneur with family and marriage. Like, that's what juices us up every single day that we wake up. We're building an empire and a kingdom. And the number one reason is for our family. And after we baked the cake, we ate some chocolate chip cookies. We played some Jenga by the fireplace, and I put him to sleep. Compound time, brothers. Compound time. And right now, I spend some time with my wife. And as crazy as it sounds, I'm going to see my chiropractor tonight. Because the game never ends, guys. The game never ends. I strike every single second from life. I strike every single second from life. Like, I know my life is not guaranteed tomorrow, so I'm going to do everything I can today to live. Love my kids, love my wife to a whole different level and experience them. Serve my clients to the fullest. Share with you with no fucking filter, no script. Just sharing from the fucking heart and telling you how hard it is to be an entrepreneur, but it's not impossible. Like, I know a lot of you guys are struggling because you don't have the association. A lot of you guys are struggling because you're alone. You're in this game alone, and I know it. I used to be alone for a long fucking time, sedating myself, just trying to keep the sanity of being an entrepreneur. But now I surround myself with badass motherfuckers who are in this fucking game, and guess what? We're not alone. We're not alone. And the game gets easier when you roll with a bunch of real motherfuckers who get it. Who love to succeed, compound time, execute, and live in the edge. So that's my rant for tonight. Learn it, live it, experience it. Love life.